Today, the mic is this little guy. Isn't he just the coolest little dude? Got him at a thrift store like probably a month ago, and he's just been chilling, and I love him so much. However, he is kind of heavy, so I don't know how he's gonna work as the mic. I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with it. This is a workout. This is today's workout, is holding this little dude. So what are we gonna talk about today? You tell me. No, I'm just kidding. This one is relatively vulnerable. I feel like the last few have been pretty vulnerable, and this one is no different. Today's idea is all about letting go of who you thought you would be, or who you thought you should be. I want to cut right to the chase. Let's get right into it. Thank you for being here. Welcome on in. I used to believe that I had to be a certain version of myself to be worthy of being accepted, of being a good person, of being the best version of myself. There's a lot of ideas that were tied into who I thought that I should be. But letting go of that image changed everything. If you were to tell me, even just a year ago, that I would be sitting here with several kinds of trinkets that are like fantasy themed and doing YouTube videos, following a path in life that I would not have ever seen myself taking, I would have told you that you were crazy. I wouldn't have believed that this is who I would be just a year later, just 5 years later. This journey of self acceptance has been one that has just blown me away. In this video, I want to share the messy but beautiful truth of what it really takes to let go of who you think that you should be and who I thought that I should be. So let's get to the root of it. Where do these idealized versions of ourselves come from? For some of you, it may be school, it may be trauma, it may be family. Others, it may be culture and music and TV. Some, it could be religion, church. For me, it was several of these different things. For me, it was my family, my church, my mentors, but mostly people in general. People are what gave me the idea of who I should be. I was always following the life path that someone else had set before me. And while I do think that I've always been parts of myself, parts of my personality have always been the same. They've always been a part of how I interacted with the world and how I interacted with people. I definitely don't think that I accepted all of who I was until I was in my mid to late 20s. I'm 28 now, and the last, I'd say, 5 years have been a roller coaster. And I think that's pretty normal for most 20-year-olds to go through. I feel like your 20s are for that time of self-discovery. Some people find it sooner. Some people find it in high school and as they go into college. And for me, it was after college when I got to really decide who I wanted to be and really show up for me and not for other people. I thought I had to be the good Christian girl, the one who was always serving the church, the one that was doing all the functions at the church, the one that got married to a man and had children, the one who was funny and strong and charismatic. I felt like I had to be the one that made everybody else feel comfortable. I felt like I had to be the one who had it all together, who had the right thing to say. Even when I was falling apart, I didn't let people see those versions of myself. I only allowed them to see and know me as deeply as I wanted them to, which was not very deep. The origin of the should self really took root in my childhood. I was a tomboy, and my family would put me in pink things and girly things, and it always felt wrong for me. I didn't like it. I hated it. I would pull at my clothes. I would I didn't like it. I didn't want to be that version. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to play with the boys. I wanted to be digging and hot wiring go-karts and just shit like that. Like, I didn't want anything to do with playing in the house with Barbies, and it wasn't who I was. And that original should be, I remember being put on me at such a young age. Well, you should be girly, Krista. You should wear the headband. You should have the bangs. You should wear pink. You should wear this. You should wear that. You should like Barbies. You should like your tea set. I did like my tea set. But that's because I enjoyed serving people. I liked hosting. That was what that tea set was for, not the girly tea party. Um, and I can remember at a very young age having this idea of who I should be conflicting with who I am. And I don't think that at that age I would have been able to tell you that. I wouldn't have been able to express that to you, but it was definitely something that I was conscious of. And maybe for you, that's what it is. Maybe it was your family that put something on you. You should be a certain way. You should talk a certain way. You should act a certain way. Maybe it was the church. Maybe it was a religion that you had to adhere to their rules. You had to adhere to their ideals. But there was something in you that was stirring that knew that that's not really who you were. It wasn't until my mid to late 20s that I realized that I didn't want to play the part anymore. I didn't want to be this version that was performing for other people. I wanted to figure out who I was. And I think that it started in 2020. I was 23 years old, a young chap. I was at a Christian university. I was doing that. It was my whole life. I was sold out for it. I was very involved in my school, involved in my church. I was an RA. I was leading lots of students. I was caring for people. I was caring for souls. And there are parts of that that I did enjoy, and that truly are a part of who I am. I am an empathetic person. I was going to school to be a therapist. There's parts of these videos that I think comes out of that's who that is, my personality. That's where it comes out. I care about talking to people and giving them advice and listening to them and hearing different perspectives. That those were parts of me. It wasn't the totality of me. And so it began with politics. In 2020, as we all know, COVID hit. The world went crazy. We saw how the church reacted to COVID. We saw how the world reacted to COVID. We saw more of a rise in BLM and social activism. And my view started to shift. That learning who I am outside of what has been put on me really started to take root in my life. And I think it could have started before then, but I really pinpoint it as that shift of 2020. I didn't have the same COVID experience as a lot of people. I wasn't like discovering myself in certain ways, such as like hobbies and things, but it definitely opened up the doors to opening up my brain to views that were outside of my small bubble. Over the next several years, I would go through a transformation of who I was, and I would rip down walls and I would tear apart beliefs. 5 years later, here I am, feeling more solidified in who I am than I ever have felt, feeling like I know who I am, feeling like I know what I want, know what I like more than I have ever in my entire life. I used to know definitively my beliefs. I used to know definitively what I wanted to do with my life. I knew what career I was going for. And now, I have no clue. But I've never felt more myself. I have no clue where my life is heading. I think I've got big things in store. I can feel it. I know that I'm going to make an impact on people. I know I'm going to make an impact on my community. But how that happens, who knows? But 5 years ago, Krista would have told you, this is who I am. I'm going to be a therapist. I'm going to be a missionary. I'm going to be saving people for the Lord. That's all. That's really it. That's all I was. That was my totality. And then the walls kept crumbling. And parts of me were revealed. Beliefs were taken away. New beliefs were put in place. I realized that I couldn't continue being someone who was just a people pleaser. I couldn't keep molding myself into being who I thought everybody else needed me to be. I couldn't keep shapeshifting. I couldn't squeeze parts of me into a box so tightly anymore. I accepted my sexuality. I accepted my beliefs. I accepted my political stance. I accepted my parts of my personality that I didn't understand before. I accepted hobbies. I learned my hobbies, and I'm still learning my hobbies and my interests. I accepted the desires of my heart. Where am I going? What am I doing? What do I want from this life? I accepted love and honesty. I accepted my personal comfort and my desires over shapeshifting into what other people wanted. I realized that I was not created to just be a certain person for everybody else except for myself. I wasn't created for anything other than being who I am, accepting my truth as who I am, and going out and sharing that light with everybody else. There were some big signs that I had been ignoring for years and years, and I kind of broke down right after high school. I started having panic attacks. I kind of shut my life off. But even that wasn't enough to wake me up. Wake me up. Wake me up inside. That wasn't enough to wake me up. I went several years longer. It took several more years to discover who I was even after that incident. I ignored so many signs. I was burnt out in my career, burnt out in my life in general, burnt out with my relationships. I was feeling so much anxiety, so much disconnection from the people that I loved, and I was ignoring all of those signs. I can remember the moment that the illusion cracked. It was in 2021 when all of my beliefs were crumbling down. The walls were falling, brother. They were falling hard and fast, and the thread just kept getting pulled out. Pulled out, pulled out, pulled out till there was nothing left. Rene Descartes talks about the boxes of our mind, and if we were to take out every single box being a belief, and we analyzed it, and we took a look, and we said, what is this? Do I agree with this? Yes. No. If we took each of those boxes out, what would we have left to put back in? And I feel like I went through a period of that, and it felt like a long and grueling period. But it was that moment, that initial, whatever box it was for me that I took out first to analyze. I can remember the crack in the illusion, being like, oh shit. Who am I? And who do I think that I should be? And why do I think I should be that? Friends, it's scary to be there, but there is so much hope on the other side of that. I had to understand within the next 5 years from 2020 to now that I didn't have to set myself on fire to keep other people warm. I didn't have to tear my house down to keep everybody happy. I had to come to myself and think, Krista, what do you want? What do you need? What do you desire? Who do you truly want to be? Once I started asking myself those questions, on went the process for the next 5 years. And I imagine I'm going to keep growing and thinking and asking these questions. Letting go of who you think you should be is not a one-time event. Friends, it's taken 5 years thus far, and I know that I'm not my full potential yet. I know there's times where I struggle being a people pleaser and I think I should be this far along. I should be doing this. I should have this much money. It's not a one time event, it's a process. It's a long ass process. So lock in, get ready for it, strap in, put that seatbelt on, because it's a bumpy ride, but it's a good one. Let's talk about some real life tangible things that I did to help me during this journey. A question I have for you is, what are some practices, support systems, or affirmations that can help you? For me, a big support system that I had was having a therapist, having a wife that was being patient with me as I day by day was changing right before her own eyes. Because Ryan was with me through all of this. She was on the roller coaster with me. I had my family. They had to watch this transformation. And while they don't agree with a lot of who I've become necessarily, they were right there with me, sticking beside me, telling me that they love me and that they support me. Learning how to set boundaries was a huge one. Learning how to set boundaries with myself, with my partner, with my family, with my friends. It was a really difficult process for me because I was a people pleaser, but that was one of the biggest things for me. Not just letting people get inside my head. Oh, Christy, you should be doing this. You shouldn't post that. You shouldn't see this. You shouldn't think about that. You should stick to this. You should do this. You should be doing this. I set the boundary. If you're not going to support me where I'm at right now, you're gone. You're not here. You're rocking with me or you're getting out. And that is so hard. That is so hard for someone who has a personality like mine. Because I love most people. I really, really get involved with people that I care about. It was so hard untangling these relationships because I had to put myself first. If you're in that situation where the loudest voices are what's causing you to feel like you should be something, I see you, I hear you, and I understand it. It's so hard. So hard to get out of that. But I'm right here with you. And if you ever need to talk about it, about the pain of it, of the pain of grieving, the loss of people that you love, shoot me a DM. I'm right here with you. Another practice that helped me was getting out into nature. Like literally turning my phone off, going on a walk, feeling the air on my skin, feeling the sun on my skin, deeply breathing out in nature. It's been a game changer. It's helped me have mental clarity. It's helped me be able to have thoughts, catch them, and decide if I want to release it or not. I used to do this when I was a Christian. I would go out and I would go and pray and journal. And I found that that's still a part of who I am, even though I'm not praying necessarily and I'm not journaling a prayer to God. But journaling and breathing out in nature and talking out loud in nature, it, it helped me so much get some clarity and a sense of self. It's okay to grieve your old identity. It's okay to grieve because you feel like you lost who you once were. Now, if you're losing yourself because you're shaping yourself into somebody who is not somebody you would want to be, it's okay to be like, "Oh, let's not do that." But it's okay also to grieve who you once were because it no longer fits your life, even though you're accepting who you are now. It took me a while to get over that, to get over, and there's times where I still struggle. Like, it's really hard to go from this ideal of who you thought you should be. I thought I should have a kid. Thought I should have a house. I thought I should be be serving in the church. I thought I should be a therapist. You know, it's okay to grieve those things. If you don't think that those are things that you are anymore, That's all right. It's okay to grieve those parts of yourself that are no longer there. One thing that I started asking myself that has helped me almost more than anything, and this has helped me with my body, this has helped me with my mental health, this has helped me with my marriage. I started asking myself, what if I am enough? What if who I am is enough? Not who I think I should be, not who I used to be, just me. Just me being me. What if it's enough? And the answer to that is you are enough. And I'm enough, just as you are. You are loved and lovable, and you should be respected for who you are, as you are. I'm not chasing a checklist of who I thought I should be, the things that I should have, the things that I should have done by now. I'm just building a life that feels like mine. And so, whether that means making YouTube videos and TikTok videos and being a content creator, or that means being a dungeon master because I love Dungeons and Dragons. Whatever it means for you, build the life that feels like yours. Feels like you created it. Becoming who you truly are. Coming into yourself and knowing what you believe and what you enjoy. Actually, it's a reclamation. You are reclaiming something that was already there. You are rediscovering who you are. It's not a loss. So, like I said, you can grieve, but I need you to understand that it's not a loss. You don't have to have it all figured out. Like I said, I'm on a 5-year journey that's going to keep going. Just be brave enough to put one foot in front of the other and show up for you. Be brave enough to come home to yourself. Like I said, if you're in the thick of getting to know who you are and of letting go who you thought you should be, I see you and you are not alone. I've been there. Sometimes I'm still there because sometimes I go forward, sometimes I go backward. I'm there with you. I see you. You're not alone. I'd like to know. I'll leave you on this question. Let me know in the comments, what version of yourself are you letting go of? This has been a lovely discussion, friends. If you really enjoyed this, I do hope that you would like and you would subscribe and you would comment down below how it's impacted you. I've got plenty more coming on healing, on growth, on physical strength, on all the things that I've already been touching on getting real and being authentic and living a life that's worth living. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being alive. I'll catch you on the next one. For those of you who know, you know.